Yes, thank you for joining me today. My name is Michael Smith. I'm the National Consumer Education Manager of Janome Canada, and I'm back live for you on Wednesday for another Janome's Magical Machine Mystery Tour. And what will we be talking about today? Well, it's a mystery. Now, Tanya always does these beautiful drawings for our Janome HQ Instagram page, so there's always a little hint in those pages. So today she was showing the continents and lots of love. So I love it. So what is the machine that we're talking about today? Well, let's flip this back around. And, yes, another Janome's Magical Machine Mystery Tour. What will it be? Now, the big reveal, little by little, ta-da, as we saw earlier. Our fabulous machine has this beautiful Janome embroidered with the beautiful red lettering, beautiful case. Dust cover, and you know, a lot of these dust covers here, they have lots of good hook and loop tape, and then there is pockets, you know, on the inside, so we can keep all of our like our pressure foot, our power control, our foot pedal. We can keep all of that, the manuals, all the accessories that come with the machine. So yes, so it's always great to have. So our big machine today, yes, talk about big, is the fabulous Janome Continental M7. And I have to get way back. Look at all that gorgeous machine. It is the biggest machine in the Janome line, and certainly the biggest in the domestic sewing market. You know, the long arm machines are the only thing bigger. So fabulous. Now, oh yes, sometimes you have to sign out and go back. Oh yes, if anyone is having any trouble with their connection, if you go out of Instagram entirely and then go back into the app, then that should refresh your screen. Now, speaking of, you know, some technical difficulties, if things aren't working out. Now, last week, if you were with me live, then you notice, yes, I talked about the Continental M7 last week, but whatever happened, I don't know if it was something to do with my iPad or something to do with my internet connection, but that first half of my presentation was gone. I've got a second half of the presentation on the IGTV icon of Janome HQ Instagram page, but that first half of the presentation was lost. And then I had a number of people message me afterwards saying, oh, like, we missed the beginning of your presentation. Could you please go back and review what you did? So then, yes, this is a recap, and hopefully nothing technology-wise is going to happen trouble-wise. So yes, this presentation is about the fabulous Continental M7, and specifically, when we get into the more higher-end machines, sometimes people feel like, oh, that's too much machine for me. I'll never learn all of that. Or maybe you're getting up into a particular age and feel, oh no, I'm too old to learn a new machine. All that new technology, that's too fancy for me. I'm not going to bother. Or maybe you're also feeling like, oh, I'm not a good enough sewer. I'm still a beginner. I'm not going to be able to master all those, you know, push button controls. So, you know, that machine is, you know, for me down the road. So, well, there's a little bit of truth to that. Overall, I think it's great to have a machine where you'll grow into. So when you look at the fabulous Continental M7, and again, especially if you're a beginner and you think, oh no, that's too much machine for me. Again, you start with the basics and then you grow into it. Or again, if you feel like, oh no, I'm of a certain age and this is too much for me to learn. Again, you start with the basics and you grow into it. That a lot of these more sophisticated machines with computer technology, again, you let the machine do some thinking for you. So a lot of these push button controls and these features are designed really to help you and to help your sewing, to speed up the process, to help the results be a little bit more, again, professional, and to save you the time and the frustration setting up your machine, and it actually speeds up the process so you get on with the task at hand, which is the actual sewing. So we're going to go over some of those features again, so they're a little less intimidating. So the machine has a instructional DVD. So again, make sure that you watch that. A lot of information about the machine will be revealed in that. So that's always good. Now, the machine also has this PC applications pack, and there are things like the screensaver program, so you can download your own photos onto the M7, and it'll show on this beautiful LCD, 7-inch LCD screen. So the screensaver software that's in this PC application pack will allow you to download your own photos onto the machine, so that's cool, if you choose. Also, there's the Stitch Composer software on this PC applications pack. So Stitch Composer allows you to create your own stitches. There are 400 stitches included in the Continental M7, so if that's not enough for you, or again, you want ultimate control, that's something Janome always brings to you. You're in control, you're the creator, you're the designer. So with the Stitch Composer software included with the Continental M7, you can create your own stitches and then stitch them out. In fact, I had an online class, which is now available with the recording, that you could sign up for the class, and I can send you the recording of the Stitch Composer class for more information about that. Oh, hello. Oh, Cheryl's here. Hello. Good to see you. So again, there's lots of information included with the machine, like your instruction manual. And even though this manual does have an index here, a table of contents, so we can find whatever we're looking for, whatever information. I always like doing these little sticky tabs up top. So for things like the auto pivot, oh yes, I could look that up in the table of contents, but then I'll just flip here with my sticky note. So I like doing that with my manuals too. So again, you'll see there's lots of information included in the manual. It may seem, like a lot in one sitting. So you just relax and, read a little bit of the manual, a couple of pages at a time, and little by little, you will learn all of this information. No one is expected to know it right away. Now, also, we have available for machines like the Continental M7 and our top-of-the-line MemoryCraft 15,000 quilt maker, we have workbooks for those machines. We have a workbook for the AirThread Serger, for example, the AT2000D. There is a workbook for that machine. And again, typically they're reserved for the more, higher-end machines. And again, because they are so sophisticated, there are a lot to learn. So things like the workbooks really do help as well to get more information about the machine, so you're a little more comfortable reviewing it. Now, for things like these features built into the machine that will make your sewing experience more enjoyable, and again, just makes things easier for you, regardless of your experience level or your age. For example, removing the needle plate sometimes can be a bit of a challenge, particularly I have some, I think I've got the beginning of carpal tunnel in my hands. They get very numb and very cramped, and sometimes using the little screwdriver, it's just too much for me to grip. So perhaps some of you identify with this. Maybe you've got a little bit of arthritis, for example, and sometimes unscrewing that needle plate in order to change out your bobbin holder or to get down and clean the bobbin. Maybe you're not doing that as frequently as you should because it's just harder for you to use that screwdriver. So, machines like the Continental M7, this is a new feature debuting with the Continental M7. Now we can just hit that lock button, touch this screen, and look at that, like magic. Your needle plate is brought up. It is fantastic. Now there is a magnet down here in the bobbin holder area that will hold this magnet into place when it's in position. So no screws, no screwdriver required. Like, isn't that fantastic? Such a time-saving feature. And again, how easy is that? Again, regardless of your age and experience level, everybody can appreciate that. It just makes it so easy. And then again, messages up on the screen remind you, make sure the proper presser foot is attached, and then I X out of that, and away we go. So like, how great is that? The Continental M7 comes with 3 needle plates, so it's great to be able to, again, switch out very quickly and easily. Again, another time-saving features, we have easy push-button controls like stop-start, the reverse, the lock button, needle up and down, the scissor button, so to cut your thread. Another time-saving feature. All of that, the presser foot lift is all up here easily, just kind of right above the needle, so then we can easily select whatever we need to. Speed control dial. This is built into a lot of Janome machines. Actually, a lot of these controls are built into a lot of Janome machines. So again, yes, you could take your foot off the power foot control, sort of take your foot off the gas to reduce the speed of the machine, but then you can also select this slider to reduce the speed. So let's say if you're doing a stitching around applique and you really want that improved accuracy, or for decorative stitches, a lot of our machines are capable of very high speed, stitches per minute, but when I'm stitching my decorative stitches, I like turning the speed down actually to medium speed typically. A lot of those decorative stitches, are very intricate. So by slowing the machine down, you just give it a little bit more time to form, so the stitches look a little better. Continental M7 shows 1,300 stitches per minute. So if that's like, ooh, that sounds really fast for you, you have ultimate control with that speed control lever as well. So you're always in control. The machine is very sophisticated. It does a lot for you, but ultimately you're still in control. So there's a lot you can do to customize this machine and make it yours, again, regardless of age or experience level. Oh, so for things like when we go into this little adjustment key, as it's called, we can make some adjustments here. So traditionally, for other machines, we'll have a little dial here to adjust your needle tension. Well, in the Continental M7, for example, that auto tension is built in, but we can go into the adjust key here, and then we can adjust. If we need more needle tension, we turn the number up. If we need less needle tension, we go turn the number down. And then the great thing too with all these push button controls, we don't need to worry about, oh gosh, now I've adjusted the machine. What was it set at? You don't need to write anything down. You just click default and then it goes right back to those factory settings. So how perfect is that? You can adjust things for the foot pressure. Now, again, normally up at the top of this machine up here, there may be a foot control dial, so again, to give you more pressure on the presser foot or to lighten that presser foot pressure. But instead of having a dial, then again, it's built in here to the screen, so it just makes it a little more, again, time convenient, and then it's easy to easily, if I need less foot pressure or more, I hit the plus button. And again, we don't need to worry about, oh, what are the defaults? We just hit default. So simple, so easy. Now for adjustments, again, where you can customize. So things, right now, my default stitch length of my straight stitch is 2.4 stitches per inch. But maybe you want a piece, whatever kind of sewing you do, maybe you want to do it at 2.2, for example. This machine, and a lot of our, again, more top-of-the-line machines, has these favorite stitch features, where I can go into our favorite stitch folder, and then I even have 2 options of selecting the favorite stitch. So that's turned into yellow there, that I can see my 2.2 is in yellow, it's highlighted. So that's what I would choose as my default stitch length. And so once that is saved, then I can go, select whatever other stitches. And when I go back to my straight stitch, there, again, in yellow, shows my 2.2. That's my favorite stitch selection. I can go into that folder. There it is saved. But then we also have the option of doing another favorite stitch option. So let's say you're doing your seaming at 2.2, but maybe for your quilting or like your top stitching, you're going to go through thicker layers, more layers. So I personally like to do that at a 3.0. So instead of always making that adjustment and always writing that down somewhere, instead we can go again into our favorite stitch folder, select favorite stitch 2, and then there it is at 3.0. So again, I'm stitching other stitches and I'm going to go back to my regular straight stitch. There, highlighted in yellow, is 3.0, so we know that's what is selected. I go back into my favorite stitch folder. So there I have favorite stitch 1 and favorite stitch 2. So you don't have to write anything down. You don't have to remember all of this. Again, let the machine do some thinking for you, and you can customize your settings this way. So whatever you wish to do, and then after, if you want to then get rid of them, this little garbage can lets you select, okay, I want to get rid of favorite stitch 2, and then I go back in, now it's gone, and then we want to get rid of favorite stitch 1, go back in, and it's gone, and then there, now it's gone. So again, you totally customize, you're in control. So again, what a great time-saving feature that is, having that favorite stitch selection. Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. Now we can also do things like adjusting the width and the length, stitch width and stitch length here on the screen, or we do have the dials here at the side is stitch width and this is stitch length. So we could also control with these dials too. So it's whatever you prefer. Janome is all about giving you the options and all about the controls. Now, when we go and look for our stitches, we see I've got, one of 37 pages. So we can scroll this way with these little arrows, or again, as a convenient time-saving feature, we can go up here to this little piece of paper and click on that. Then here in our utility stitches category are all the utility stitches. So we don't need to worry about, what number of stitch was that? Zigzag stitch, for example. I just hit there. There is my zigzag stitch. It happens to be stitch number 9 of the utility category. But again, we don't even need to worry about what stitch number it is. We can just hit, again, that little piece of paper that tells us all of our stitches, and then go, okay, great, now I want to do this overcasting stitch here. Boom, there it is. The machine is all set up, ready to go. It tells you, again, what presser foot to use. So again, you don't even have to think. You don't, it's always good to keep your instruction manual handy, but then again, you don't always have to worry about, oh gosh, now I need to look that information up. It's here on the LCD screen, what foot to use. And again, the machine is already set up for you. So you just snap on that foot and away you go. So again, easy time-saving features regardless of experience level. Some other great advantages that we have, and again, these more computerized higher-end machines, like the fabulous Continental M7 here, the t-shirt little icon is built into a lot of those higher-end machines. And to me, I love the sewing applications menu is what it's called, but everyone knows it as the Janome t-shirt. So you click on your t-shirt and it's the machine asking you, like, what do you want to do? This is where, again, the machine does a lot of thinking for you. It's just a great time-saving feature that, again, you don't have to remember all the settings. The machine is set up for you. I don't know about you, but I have so much going on in my head that I really appreciate the machine doing as much thinking for me. And this way, sometimes I'm in a rush, I'm not always thinking clearly, too much on my mind. Then maybe I set up the machine incorrectly for the presser foot or for the needle position. And by having the sewing applications, having a computerized machine, it will help prevent a lot of those mistakes. That if you set up the machine wrong, it'll tell you, like, no, that's not the right foot, or that's the wrong needle plate, for example. If I snap in the straight stitch needle plate, for example, all my zigzag stitches, all my decorative stitches, for example, are all grayed out. So we can't select those stitches because those are incompatible with the straight stitch needle plate. So again, it's great having a machine to do some thinking for you, to say, no, I'm not going to let you do that. That's going to, create a problem and break a needle, and it won't let you. So that's great. So sewing applications, again, just makes your life so much quicker and easier. Your sewing quicker and easier. If you want to do that over edge stitch, for example, to finish off the raw edge of your fabric, I just hit, over edge woven, let's say, and I have my selections. The machine is set up for me. If I have a knit fabric, there's even an over edge stretch or knit option. So boom, the machine is already set up for us, and it gives you, again, what presser foot to use. So again, let the machine do the thinking for you. Let it do the heavy lifting for you. You don't need to remember all those settings. You just say, again, what do I want to do? If you want to sew on a button, for example, boom, I hit that button, and boom, the feed dogs are lowered automatically. The zigzag stitch to go across to sew, again, the button in those holes, it's already predetermined, but we can still select it. Most of the holes in buttons are pretty standard at 3.5, but sometimes for a larger button, you may have the holes spaced out a little more. So I can make my zigzag a little wider, or I could make it a little more narrow as I need to, for really small buttons. If you have doll clothing, for example, the little doll buttons, then you can reduce the width of that zigzag. So again, you're still in control, but then ultimately the machine is all set up for you as a place to start, and then you can refine it. So let's go back to sewing applications, and then, so we've got multiple screens from which to choose. But then also when I go up into this little heart quilting icon, this is our quilting sewing applications. So if we want to do free motion quilting, for example, again, how do I set up my machine? What numbers and everything? All we do is select a button, and boom, our feed dogs are lowered, as indicated by that icon there. There's the little straight line representing the needle plate, and then there are the feed dogs that it's under that. Now, and then again, suggesting that in this case it's using our PDH foot, is like our hopping foot, darning foot. So the, again, machine will tell us a lot of that information. But, some people like to do free motion quilting with their feed dogs up. They have a little more control because of the feed dogs guiding their fabric. So no problem. If you're wanting to free motion with your feed dogs up, click that button, and boom, you'll see the icon is now changed. The feed dogs are above, and then there's the little line for the needle plate. So again, you still have control to whatever kind of free motion quilter you are. So isn't that great? Or back to our t-shirt, if you want, again, ruler quilting is so popular. That's another big advantage, quilting in particular. This is a quilter's dream. We have 13.5 inches to the right of the needle here. And then again, we have that huge extension table included with the machine. So if you are like me and your machines sit on top of a table, if they don't recess down in, how great you've got this extension table. And then look, we all fell in love with that drawer. Look at that. So your two other needle plates can store in here, a lot of extra feet and accessories. Even your little bobbins can all sit in here with this little foam cushioning. So like, again, just quick, easy, time saving. You don't have to, stress where is everything. Most everything can fit in this little drawer. Or then again, you do have the beautiful accessory case that comes with the machine as well. So again, you just speed up your production. We're all so busy these days trying to do so much. So you spend less time adjusting your machine and more time actually sewing. So that is great. So again, getting back to, yes, if I want ruler quilting, how do I set up the machine? We don't really need to worry about that. We just click that button, boom, it's already done for you. Now, if you would like to go in and do some more refining, again, we do have this adjust key. So we can go and refine our needle tensions, for example, and we can adjust the height of the presser foot over the fabric. When we're doing ruler quilting, we want to just kind of hover that foot over the fabric. So we can go and adjust here to make it closer or further away. Then we do have the light option as well. So if we're using a really thin cotton batting, for example, is generally thinner. So the default setting is 1.5 millimeters above the needle plate that the foot will hover. But then if you're using, let's say a cotton flannel, for example, then maybe I'm going to bring that foot down, to a 1 millimeter above the needle plate. Maybe we don't have any batting at all. We're just doing a quilt sandwich with the backing, and maybe there's a layer of, again, flannel, and then the quilt top. So we can lower that foot, or if we have let's say we've got 2 layers of batting. Typically I use like an 80-20 that has cotton with a little bit of polyester. But if you're doing some quilting with a lot of dimension, maybe you have a layer of wool over that 80-20 batting. So maybe the 2.5 default is not high enough. So you can go in to raise it. Maybe we're going to raise the foot up to a 3.0 to accommodate for that extra thickness of that extra batting. So again, you can totally customize, but the machine gets set up for you to make things a little easier, but then you can always go in and customize. We've got the settings mode here with that little cog. This is where you can have total control of how your machine responds. Maybe this buzzer sound, for example. If, again, we can't do something, the machine will chime and let's say, that's annoying to you, or that's so loud to you. Again, you can go in, turn it right off if you'd rather, or just make it a little quieter. So you're in control of that. This screen brightness, again, I don't know about you, but as I'm getting a little older, I definitely like having the brighter screen, but sometimes after all day, and particularly later at night, sometimes the screen's a little too bright, but I still want to keep sewing, so I can turn down that screen brightness, so just enough where you can see, but it's not too glaring for your eyes. So that's great to customize whatever is easiest for you. Same these sewing lights. We have so much lighting on the Continental M7 here, all this beautiful LED lighting. But again, sometimes it's maybe a little too much glare, particularly if you're photographing or doing any videos, sometimes it's a little too much glare. So you can independently turn off the lights however you need. And again, maybe if you're sewing late at night, sometimes you want all that bright light, but sometimes, maybe it's a little too glaring, it's a little too harsh on your eyes, so you can turn them off there or even adjust the brightness there. So again, the machine can do a lot for you, but you're ultimately in complete control. We have a clock. Yes, which I was so excited. That's one of the feedback that, we've given Janome for years. We want a clock on our machine. I love it. And especially because I lose track of time when I'm sewing. I'm sure I'm not the only one. But let's say if you're like, oh no, you don't want it to sway, great. You can just turn it right off. Messages like, clean your bobbin holder every 5 hours. You can switch this off, but personally, I love that now, again, the higher end machines have these messages built in for us, and especially because of this needle plate, again, that rises up all on its own, no screwdriver needed. Now it's a joy to clean the bobbin area as often as we need, and it's great. And now with many of us, home more than ever, we're sewing more than ever, so it's wonderful when the machine reminds you, hey, have you cleaned up that bobbin area? I know I definitely need that. So again, it's great when you have these higher end machines with these computerized capabilities in them to help you out. It's one less thing to worry about, one less thing on your mind. So again, lots of customizing in here. Then we have our sewing settings as well. So things like our thread cut after auto lock, we can either turn it on, so that way as soon as we press that auto lock button, the threads are going to cut. So we don't have to then go and press the scissor button, so it just saves time. Or again, we turn that off. We can stop with the needle in the down position or the needle in the up position. We have complete control over that. Other settings for things like, bobbin thread sensor remaining. That's one feature a lot of people have asked for. Again, Janome really does listen to the feedback. It may not always happen as quickly as we'd like it, but they really do try to listen to our needs. So one feature a lot of people wanted was a bobbin sensor. So there is a laser down here that will sense when your bobbin is running low, which you can either turn off or turn on. If you turn that bobbin sensor on, it will get to a point and then it will stop sewing and will not allow you to continue. So yes, you do have a little bit of thread left on your bobbin. Now, how much thread left on that bobbin depends on the weight of your thread. Naturally, a thicker thread, you'll have less thread on your bobbin. If it's a finer thread, you'll have more thread left on it. So that is something you can't adjust. It's either on or it's off. But you want to make sure that you're using these clear bobbins. Now, even though these are our beautiful Janome 100th anniversary bobbins, available from your Janome dealer, even though they are colored, they are still clear. So they will still work with the bobbin sensor. And things like our, gorgeous red bobbins, or we do have blue bobbins. So if you want to color coordinate and separate your cotton threads, or maybe on your cute little pink cherry blossom bobbins, and your polyester threads are on your blue bobbins. All of these, again, available from your Janome dealer, and they will still work with that optical sensor that's in the bobbin area. Now, even our Janome pre-wounds, available in black or in white, will also work because they are wound on the clear Janome J bobbins. So these will still work as well in the machine. We don't want to use bobbins with cardboard or metal. Then the bobbin sensor will not work for those bobbins. So again, we've got more control and customizing in the machine. Again, the reminders that help us. How many times have you been sewing a whole big long strip? Let's say you're sewing borders on a quilt, and then you get down to the end only to discover you ran out of bobbin thread 2 minutes after you started. So it's nice having the machine to remind you, hey, you're running low on bobbin thread. Now, the machine, as I mentioned, is 1,300 stitches per minute. Maybe you don't want to start sewing that fast. So in your settings here, you can control your foot control. Do you want it to start up slow and then gradually get faster? Or do you want to start kind of medium speed and then get faster? Or do you want to go kind of pedal to the metal the minute you put your foot down on that foot control? You can control that. Same with our stop start button. You don't need to use the foot control at all with this machine. So you've got the stop start button right here. So do you want that to start up slow or medium or fast? So then you get used to that, 1,300 stitches per minute. So here you can go into your settings and you can maybe do your stop start button really slow, but your foot control you want to start up at medium. So you can control that speed independently. So again, how cool is that? What a great time-saving feature that is. It just makes it more comfortable when you're sewing. And particularly, again, if you're even teaching someone to sew on your machine, then maybe you want to turn the speed down for them so it's a little less intimidating. The resume mode and favorite stitch adjustment, we must make sure in order to use that favorite stitch adjustment that I showed earlier, that has to be switched on in our settings, and then resume mode switched on. This is a great time-saving feature. If we are going to go in and let's just do this beautiful heirloom stitch, whatever kind of stitch that you want selected, and then so whatever stitch you have selected, how about that for hands-free sewing? Isn't that cool? So you're just going to do whatever stitch that you want selected, and then, so after you do your stitching, and then you switch your machine off at the end of the night, or let's say, oh, you've had a power outage or something unexpectedly. So then when you turn your machine back on, With the resume mode selected in your settings, you get another little warning saying, yes, resume last pattern. You can click OK, and then boom, there's my heirloom stitch that I was just using. So again, how great that we can use the features of the machine, use the technology available, and actually have it work for us instead of against us. So then, yes, we can resume sewing whatever our last stitch pattern was. So then we don't have to, again, remember, it's one less thing that we have to worry about, one less thing that we have to adjust. Let the machine do some thinking for you. So that's, again, a big advantage to, again, those higher-end machines, and specifically here of the gorgeous Continental M7. It does so much for you. Now, back into our settings. Again, there's some other things. Yes, resume. Oh, and then we've got our languages as well. So let's say that you love this machine and you're going to recommend to your friend who speaks French or Portuguese that even they can change the language of this machine. So anyone around the world could use it. So isn't that cool? Now, also in this machine, we've got some built-in help. So this little question mark, again, we've got the information in the manual, but you don't always want to drag your manual out, let's say. So here we just click the little question mark. And if you wonder, oh, I forgot the steps of winding the bobbin, the machine will tell you all that information. Or when you're wondering about attaching the dual feed holder, is the AccuFeed Flex foot holder that I often say is like a walking foot on steroids. So as a review, that it's built in, the information is built into your machine on how to attach that foot holder. So step by step by step, then it guides you through it. Again, all that information is in the manual as well, but it's also built into your machine. So how cool that, again, it's such a time-saving feature that it can work for you and not intimidate you, that you can really find it very quickly and easily at your fingertips. Now, also new to the Continental M7 is this fabulous QR reader here. And what that is we have an app, a free app. If you go to the App Store, there is the AccuSpark app, and it will work for your iPad, your iPhone, and your Android device. So isn't that cool? So our AccuSpark app is basically like a built-in instruction manual. It has this QR scan tool option. So if I activate that, and then I go over, ooh, look, instantly, it just, scanned it. And then it tells me, there is my heirloom stitch that's on my screen. And it's telling me what presser foot to use. It's telling me how to replace that. It's telling me about the adjust key and how I can adjust stitch width and length. And again, there's our built-in winding the bobbin video and inserting the bobbin. All of that built-in help is in this AccuSpark app. Now, if you don't have the Continental M7, you can still go to the App Store and download for free this AccuSpark app, because those tutorial videos, again, are built in on how to wind the bobbin. They're built into this app, or the stitch chart info. Now, maybe you don't have all of these stitches in your machine, but a lot of Janome machines have the same stitches. So you can go in and select and see which ones would be applicable for you. Same with the presser feet. There is the info. Now, all of these feet come included with the Continental M7, and they tell you, what number it is or what letter it is, as Janome feet are all lettered. So what letter it is, in this case, our zigzag foot is the A foot, or the M foot is the over edge, overcasting foot, and when you would use it for overcasting. For example, the F foot is the satin stitch foot, and this is what it looks like, and this is when you would use it. So all that information is built into the AccuSpark app. So even if you don't have the Continental M7, a lot of our machines still have these presser feet, like, the G, the blind M foot. So you can still benefit from the information in this app. Now, for more information about all of these feet as well, you can go to the Janome YouTube channel and watch the A to Z with Janome series, or go to the IGTV icon in Instagram and the A to Z series. I went through what the D foot is, for example, what the F foot is, the T, the button sewing foot. I talked about all of that in the A to Z with Janome series, so you can find out more information on the Janome HQ YouTube, or again, Janome HQ Instagram page. So again, all that information is available to you at your fingertips very quickly and conveniently. But again, you learn about it all over time. Don't expect to open this box from the machine and then instantly know everything. It just takes time. But that's the wonderful thing too about these more sophisticated machines. You will literally have them a lifetime. So you will grow into the machine little by little by little. And now, thanks to technology and social media, there is a lot of information available on the Continental M7, for example. So check out the Janome.ca website, check out Janome.com, certainly check out Janome HQ Instagram. I've done I think 2 previous Magical Machine mystery tours of the Continental M7. So yes, you can go back to review those presentations for more about your fabulous Continental M7. So, as usual, I see, ooh, the time is racing by. So yes, again, I could talk forever about this machine, but I want to make sure I don't get booted off last time. So thank you, everyone, so much for your patience wherever we end up with some technology issues of when these Instagram lives don't work. So thank you for your patience to continue to join me, and I'll certainly do whatever I can to help share the Janome love. For any questions, you can always write me as well, classes@janome-canada.com for any machine questions or anything, so I can answer that way too, or certainly message us all on our social media. So thank you, everyone, for joining me. It's wonderful to see you all. I hope to see you all again next week for another Janome's Magical Machine Mystery Tour. Oh, what will we be talking about? I don't know. It's a mystery. So thank you all for joining me, and have a fabulous day. Thank you. Bye.